My name is Orlandina Fallon, and I am the Fertile Woman. I'm an educator, motivator, professional bodybuilder. I am the People's Health Coach, here to help you to become your best selves. And this is Muscles and Stilettos. I am Wonder Woman, a wonder of a woman, a creature so fearfully and wonderfully made that even my creator had to sit back and say, "Ooh, man, an amazing Amazon, protector to all. Hell hath not the fury that I can unleash, should I or my loved ones be scorned. Mother Earth, growing potential thoughts, potential ideas, birthing those ready to be born and those ready to be reborn." Hey Fit Fam, it's your girl Orlandina Fallon, and I am the Fitter Woman. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Muscles and Stilettos. Today we're going to be talking about energy. Now you all know that energy is life. Without energy, there is nothing. There is no life. There is energy in our thoughts. There's energy in our movements. There's energy in music. There's energy in other people. How often do you say, I don't like their energy, right? You kind of stay away from that person, or you go, ooh, I like that energy, and you're attracted to that. That's energy. Or you hear a song and the beat and the vibe is just right, and that beat just drops, and you're like, hey, that's energy. You're in prayer, you're in church, or you're in mosque, you're in temple, and everybody's praying or singing that one psalm, and everybody hits in that energy in unison. That's energy. I think that's where the concept of the prayer warrior comes in, because these are all people coming together to pray on behalf of another person, bringing that energy. Monks on the heights of the mountains of Nepal, down into the griots of Africa. Energy. Everything is energy. Energy is life. And today we have a special guest, Amber Renee Johnson. By day, she's a publicist. By night, she's a spiritual advisor. But most importantly, she's an energy curator. What does that mean? She helps you to identify whatever blockages that may be holding you back, and then helping you to build and balance that energy. Because when your energy is balanced, you're balanced. And with your balance, the universe will listen to everything you have to say and bring it in 1,000 folds. So today, fam, help me to welcome our wonderful guest, Amber Renee Johnson. Hey, Amber.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm just so excited to talk about this concept of energy and living in your divine self.
Yes.
I think that's amazing. How did you come to be in this field of energy curation? How did that come to be?
Okay. So after college I was looking for something else, and I think we just go through those moments in life where we're just looking for something, and you grow up with tradition, and just sometimes you're aligning to a new self and you don't even know what you're doing. So for me, becoming more spiritual, it was basically me aligning to my new stuff and letting go of things that I had been taught, and even incorporating, like, old tradition and coming into my new tradition, and just kind of trying to find my purpose. So I guess I would say I was trying to find my purpose and stumbled upon a spiritual path and took off, and I just loved it from there.
It's amazing how I've been hearing this from women time and time and time again. Like with every interview, you hear, I came into my purpose. So even though they had this career, this professional side, the professional side was always aligned with them coming into their
Yes,
purpose.
yes, yes.
And for you to be a publicist, to see there, and you're marketing your clients, it's all
Mhm.
about energy, because your client has to have a certain type of energy that
Mhm.
will attract people. That's
Right.
just phenomenal.
Yes, and I would say, like, my public relations agency, Legacy 31. That's purely energy. That's purely alignment. It's funny. I was looking through my journal from 10th grade, and I wrote down Legacy 31 PR. That is my biggest dream, and it's so funny now that, like, I'm actually living my dreams. And also, a lot of people don't know the Legacy 31. The 31. My birthday is August 31st, but the 31 comes from Proverbs 31. How to be a good woman, the characteristics of a wife, but I say the characteristics of a good woman.
That's beautiful. I never even knew that. I'm one of her clients, by the way.
Yes.
I'm one of her clients, by the way.
Yes.
So I can definitely say it's an honor working with Amber. So, Amber, what led you to birthing Living in Divine? What led you to birthing that?
Well, a lot of people come to me for spiritual guidance. A lot of people come to me when, they just don't feel right. And they're like, Amber, this is going on. And I just need, I feel like my energy is off. And so I do readings and I, do spiritual baths and things like that. But a lot of time it's because a lot of times I find out that we're running away from our purpose. And so for me, I was like, well, I really don't care about what's reading your future or whatever, because if your present life is not together, and if you don't have your past life together, whatever, the future just doesn't that doesn't exist right now. So let's not
Yeah,
even go there. So for me, it's not about I know a lot of people like to get readings, but for me, it's more about just making sure that your energy is aligned. And so for me, when you're living in divine, you're living in your alignment, you're living in your divine birthright, you're living in your divine purpose. So for me, creating Living in Divine was just to kind of help people stay on the right track and not so much worry about, what's going on in the future, but worry about the present and worry about how you can get alignment with yourself.
and I like that because a lot of times people are so focused in the future that they don't live in the present. And
Mm-hmm.
the reality is, your present is going to shape your future.
Yes. Yes. No, that's the thing. I always tell people, if in the future, you're manifesting $1 million and that comes out for you. Well, here's the thing: if you walk out of my place and you don't do anything, well, there goes that $1 million. But you have to stay aligned to your purpose, aligned to your birthright, aligned to who you are. Because when
Yeah,
you're in alignment, things naturally flow to you.
I agree. When you are in alignment, things will flow to you, things will come to you as they should, because energy attracts energy. I
Yes.
remember learning in science, energy can neither be created nor destroyed, simply transferred.
Yes. Yes. And when you truly understand that, you will understand Living in Divine. You understand that alignment, everything you say, everything that you do, it comes back to you somehow. So even if you're saying oh, I hate my life, you said it so many times, you're
Mm,
gonna eventually hate your life. But if you wake up every morning, you're like, I love my life, I am abundant, those things will start to come to you. They might come slow, but they will surely come to you the more that you believe in it.
absolutely. And I find that even in my own practice, the more I say it and the more I really truly put the energy of belief in it, the more I see it manifesting.
Mhm.
And the quicker it manifests. Now, guys, I'm not saying it's overnight, but we in that microwave society.
Right. No,
I want it to be manifested now. No,
no, it takes time.
it
It's
doesn't work like
right.
that.
No, you're still living in I guess you could say, as I would say, you're still living in a 3D world. So of course, we're still going about life. But as long as you're saying I'm abundant and you're doing something that adds onto your abundance every day. If you have a business, you're doing at least one thing, to add on to that every day. If you're saying I am love, you're doing at least one thing. You're telling yourself at least one, affirmation to say, I love me. You're just doing something every day. And eventually you're gonna look up and you're gonna be like, I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I live it, and you're so right. You say it, you do it enough, you show it, you
Right.
actually act on it, and that is what you'll see.
Yes.
So now, Amber, when I think of the word divinity, I
Yes.
think of God.
Hmm.
I think of growing up in a Christian tradition. I think of Jesus. I think of the
Hmm.
prophets. I think of divinity as angels,
Hmm.
as almost something that is separate
Hmm.
from us.
Hmm.
But when you say live in your divinity, it's as if you're saying this is not something that's outward, but
Oh,
something that is
it's inward.
inward.
God is in us. Before I'm not gonna preach, but there's a verse. Before you were born, I knew who you were. You came into this world with fine birthright. You came into this world with purpose, with passion. So yes, you have God, you have angels, you have spirit guides. But when you sit with yourself and you listen to yourself and you listen to that inner voice, which that inner voice is usually God talking to you. So when you listen to that inner voice, that's living in your divine birthright. That's living in your divinity. That's living in alignment with yourself. So yes, God is out there. Yes, Jesus, your spirit guides, your angels, they're all protecting you. But it's your energy that gets to them.
I love it. It's true because
Mhm.
I remember as I got older, my mom would say, you pray to God within. God is within you.
Yeah.
That inner voice, that guide. When we look
Yes.
at that concept of the shepherd, Jesus always being the shepherd leading his flock, and it's we think of this outward person, but really it's
No,
our
it's
our
our inner. It's our
our
inner.
inner heart.
Hmm.
So to listen to it and be able to acknowledge it and know what it sounds like will lead us to where we need to be. And I
Yes.
love that. I love that. Before you were born, I knew you.
Yes. Yes.
Powerful.
That's powerful. It's like, and I know, like, to me, it's so powerful because a lot of times, life might not just go the way we want it to go, and we're like, oh, well, I maybe didn't get this job, or maybe this person didn't like me, and my life is over. But because you know that God had, a calling for your life, and everyone is born with a purpose. Now, whether or not you decide to find your purpose or not, that's on you. But
Mhm.
everybody is born with a purpose, and when you truly sit down and allow yourself to find that purpose and to go deep within, you know that no matter what happens, you will never miss anything that's for you.
You know what? You hit it right on the head. So that leads us to the next question. Everybody is born with a purpose. Like you
Hmm.
said, God knew you. And I think to me, I'm just going to be coming back to that. I knew you because it's like, to me, I feel like it's saying, I knew you before anybody else. You know
Yes,
how when they say, I knew you before you were on the come up. I
yes,
was there with you in the trenches. I was grinding with you. I knew you before you came to be.
yes.
So anybody knows you. I knew
I
you.
know you.
I know you. I'm like, yo, I'm writing that down,
Yes,
I knew
that's powerful.
you.
Like,
And definitely that is powerful stuff. So now what if I'm someone, I'm watching this and I'm going, mind blown. I'm just saying, okay, now what? Like, how do I, if I don't know my purpose
mhm.
or I have an inkling of my purpose, how do I begin to walk towards it? What do I need to do? It's springtime, everything is coming out, and I want to, like that Diana Ross song, I'm coming out. Like, I want to come out to my purpose. How
Yes.
do I do that? What are the first steps I need to take?
You need to get to know yourself.
How
Um,
do you do that? What does that mean?
Getting to know yourself is removing projections. It's removing your insecurities, and it's also, it's this thing called your shadow side. That's the side of you that you don't want anybody to see. And when you're getting to know yourself, you're going through that harsh part, that shadow side, that side of like, okay, well, I do this because here, or I might have this bad habit of biting my nails. Well, why do I bite my nails, and what situation causes me to bite my nails, and what from my childhood causes me from bite my nails? Because a lot of things that we do as adults go back to our childhood. So you have to, like, first get to know yourself. You have to, like, who are you in this phase of your life? You're not going to be the same person you were five years ago. I would even say
Yeah.
5 months ago. Like,
So,
that's the thing. I'm like, I tell my
yeah.
friends all the time. I'm like, y'all are probably so tired of me changing. Like, one minute I'm Amber, next minute I'm Renee. One minute we're gonna put them all together, but they're just all different pieces of me coming together. Me, taking the time to find myself and figure out what works here, what works best for me, what doesn't work best for me. And also, you have to learn to listen to yourself. A lot of times we live in this society where it's always go, 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 go. Always have to do something, but we never really just kind of sit down and just, listen and get to know ourselves the same way that we want to get to know a romantic partner, friendships. That's the same way we have to get to know ourselves. And when you get to know yourself, you start to cater to yourself. You start to listen to yourself. You start to have moments with yourself. And that's really the beginning of really truly getting to learn yourself, so that you can start to kind of align with yourself, because your body will always tell you,
Yeah.
what you're supposed to be doing. I mean, from your birth chart to just probably even your name, things like that. You will always know what you're supposed to be doing, and it's already within you. You never have to go somewhere else to find things about yourself. I promise you. You know the most
Yes.
about you. You just have to take the time to actually sit down, declutter, and learn to listen, and
Yeah.
then you can go forward.
And you're right because that whole thing of getting to know yourself, you have to be intentional. Like you have to be, because we were talking about that before the interview. It's like this concept of being
Right,
intentional with your time, being intentional about getting to know yourself, and being intentional about getting to know people. Because,
right,
like you said, we'll take more time getting to know other people than we do take getting to know ourselves.
right.
Not realizing, like, well, if I don't know myself, how I'm going to attract the person that I want. You know?
And that is so real, and I think that's what gets us so caught up. Like, especially in our younger ages, I'm finding out the older I get, I'm more like, wait, I don't want to get to know you. I want to get to know me first, and because when I get to know me, I can really see how you align in my life. Because we always, from money, from love, from anything in our life, we attract at the level that we're currently at. So for me,
Yes,
I want to get to know my best self, so I can attract what's best for me, and not attract
right.
the part of me that don't know myself. So yeah.
Exactly. I it's true. And it goes back to wanting to know the future without even working on your present, knowing that your future is shaped by your present. So how are you going to attract anything in your life, whether it be career, whether it be abundance, whether it be relationships, if you yourself at this moment don't even know who you are to be focused enough to attract those things to you?
And
So
people do that. People don't
I
see that. I don't know how many times I tell people you need to find out who you are. Like, find out your purpose, because when you know your purpose, it's like it's like tunnel vision. Like, you have blocks and everything in your life, but when you truly get to know yourself, you really know your path. And so if someone, if there's a job offer and you know that you like to take 4 vacations per year, and they're like, well, you can only have 5 days off. Well, that's not aligned with who you
that's not
are.
a lie.
So you probably know that's not for you. Like, there's a
Exactly.
person, they treat you okay, but you want them to buy you flowers, and that's something that they refuse to do. Well, you already know that's not for you.
Correct.
So like, when you are really when you are walking in alignment, and you're walking in your divinity, you remove a lot of just blockages on your path and your tunnel vision, because you're so connected with who you are that you're like, because I know who I am, I'm not going to allow anyone else to take me off of my pedestal where I'm at.
You're
Mm-hmm.
right. And you were just talking about when you're getting to know yourself, you're able to identify the blocks, the
Mm-hmm.
blockages. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of blockages? Because I think of, especially when you're talking about being someone that curates energy,
Mm-hmm.
what are some types of blockages that someone can come across, and how do you help them to remove that so that they can release and allow the energy to flow?
Okay, so a lot of times we have blockages in our chakras. So whether that be your root, your solar plexus, your heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, crown, your chakras. But a lot of times we have, what I'm finding out, a lot of times we have blockages with dealing with our inner child, and we have blockages with dealing with our heart. And I will always say your heart, your root chakra, your inner child, those all go together, because your root is your foundation, your heart, that's how you love. And your inner child is not just embracing, things that happen in childhood, or things that you kind of covered up, and things that, just your old self. So how I help people remove blockages is, so one, I do have a kind of like a journal that I have put a lot of people through, and it's like a 7 week journal, but every week it covers a different chakra. And so basically, like, you go through your root chakra, and you go through, like, do I feel secure? Do I feel like I have a firm foundation? When dealing with your heart, you're saying, like, um, do I love? Do I know how to love? Those are things. But also water. Water is a very good remover. A lot of people kind of doubt the energy of water, because they're like, oh, it's just water. But water is the one element that has the power to cleanse you, and also has the power to kill you.
Mm,
Water is very, very strong, okay? And
wow.
so,
Yeah.
water is
Mm,
very
mm, mm.
strong.
And it's funny because that's where I like to be, by the water,
Mhm.
especially when I'm going through a lot of like changes and strife.
Yes.
I have to be by the water.
Yes,
And now that makes
water
sense.
has a cleansing element that's just like this, very beautiful. And so, for me, a lot of times I do help people with spiritual baths to remove their blockages. And whether whatever that is you're working on, I kind of make some herbs, gather some herbs for you, no matter kind of whatever you're working on, and kind of like pinpoint that. And along with pairing it with my journal. And then a lot of times, if you do those and you're consistent, that's the biggest thing. Being
Mm,
consistent, okay?
mm.
Being consistent with yourself, okay? Being
Yes, that's
like
everything. Being consistent,
being
everybody. Being consistent with every, yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. And I'm gonna do it for one day. Why didn't it work? Because you only did it for one day.
You're like, I
Right.
see the improvement. Well,
Yeah, you got to work on that.
that's
Yeah,
it. So
absolutely. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So doing that, doing the baths, doing the journals, those are really nice ways to start removing your blockages. But honestly, you have to honestly say to yourself, I'm ready to remove these blockages. A lot of times, a lot of us, we think we're ready, but we're just not ready. And so you can come to me all day long, you can talk to me all day long, but if you're not saying to yourself, I want to remove this, there's no point of you just, there's no point of you starting to work at all.
And it's funny because it always comes back to mindset,
Mm-hmm.
being ready,
Mm-hmm.
being ready to face. Because when you are taking these spiritual baths, and like you said, you're going, there's, I like the idea of journaling because journaling requires reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're reflecting, you're seeing that shadow self that you said.
Yes.
It's not ugly, it's not pretty.
Oh, it's not.
It's not pretty. It's not pleasant. You've got to acknowledge your faults. You got to acknowledge your inner demons. How
Mm-hmm.
do you help people work through that when they're journaling and coming across these shadows? They're like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, and they want to run because you want to run from that. It's not comfortable. How do you guide them through that process?
So first, it will be doing an energy reading, so we can just see kind of exactly where you're at. I can see like, okay, there's something from your childhood that's still there that's making it so that you can't do this. But also, I always tell people, um, even if I have to do it with you, find your tribe, because when you're facing those ugly things of yourself by yourself, when you're doing it by yourself,
Mhm.
it's a little bit worse. But I always said, like, for my 7-week journal program, I kind of want people to partner with someone, because when you have someone to kind of just discuss it and be like, hey, I didn't even realize this about myself. Like, did you realize this about me? You can kind of reflect off each other's energy.
Yeah.
But I always say, let's journal and let's get through the energy. Let's like do bath. Let's do meditation. And meditation is really, really big when you're going through your shadow. So when you're trying to find yourself and you're going through that shadow period, meditation, so you can actually hear your thoughts, you can start to process them. And then also find your tribe, get you a tribe. And y'all can talk about other things, but just make sure you have that like 5 to 10 minutes to say, like, I did my root chakra last night, so I figured out that I'm not secure with my foundation, or I'm figured out that I'm not good with money, or I figured out that my heart hurts and I cannot love people. So just kind of find your tribe so you can talk through it with people. And if you can talk through it with me, or talk through it with your people that you feel, you feel better to talk through it out, but you do need someone to talk it out, because you're not alone on your journey. This is a journey for everyone. You're not alone on your journey.
It's very important that you do have your tribe, because even when you have a coach or an advisor, they can't be there 24/7 because they are one person. And that's the reality. Is I'm like, they can't be there 24/7, but we don't want you going through this journey, like you said, on your own, and to understand that there are other people going on that journey. So if
Yes.
you guys can journey together, what do they tell you when you go hiking? Go hiking with a group.
Yes.
Go hiking with a partner. When you go swimming with a partner, because if you start floundering, somebody's there to
Okay.
support you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But to find that tribe, your vibe needs to be on point.
Yes.
Like, or your vibe needs to attract people who are in the same place. So
Yes.
you can't be going through this journey and your friend is like, whatever, I'm still partying it up in the club.
Hey,
You know,
that's the balance within itself, and you'll find, like, when you honestly start to find yourself, you will eventually like
you
get rid
will.
of people. You'll be like, wait, like, you was my best friend and we used to, like, kick it every weekend, and now you're like, oh, but I'm trying to go this way and you're still there, which is not a bad thing. But it's just right now, I know I want to go further in my mission. I want to go further in my purpose. So
Um,
I have to, like, let you go for a little while. And if you want to catch up, we don't go back for people. But if you want to catch up and
yeah,
line with this energy in my life, you're more than welcome to.
absolutely. And and be okay with that. Be okay with
Mhm.
understanding as you change, your tribe will change. And
Yes.
that's inevitable, and it should be, so
Right.
that the people who are releasing themselves from your surrounding, they're going on their own journey, and you have to be respectful of that. You don't have to agree with it. It just respect it and understand it and release them. And if you guys come together again later on, then so be it.
That's
So
definitely, yes.
that leads me to my next question. So you provide different baths. Why
Mhm.
do we have different baths? I understand the whole property of cleansing,
Uh-huh.
but why would someone need a different type of bath?
So that kind of correlate with what you're trying to attract or what you're trying to do. So if your energy, like a lot of times okay, so let me go back. So a lot of times, we cleanse our regular body every day. We shower, we take a bath, but we never truly cleanse our spirit. We don't never really just provide time to cleanse our spirit. So our spiritual self needs to be clean as well. Okay. So there are baths to remove energy from you. So like say a person like me, I talk to people all day long, whether I'm doing legacy work or living in divine. My phone is always ringing. Someone's always on my phone. I'm taking a lot of energy. And I take a lot of energy. I get really frustrated. So for
Right.
me, I would have to take a energy removal bath. Just kind of sit in water. And to remove energy, one of the best ways to do that is just add some salt to your water, some Epsom salt to your water, and just remove energy and let that go. Also, so say if you're trying, this is a big thing for me right now, trying to attract self-love into your life. You love yourself, but you really want it to stick. So there are self-love baths. If you want to attract abundance to your life, there's abundance bath. If you want to attract, if you're wanting to win something and you're wanting to make sure that, you win and your energy is in a winning state, because that's all a part of, manifestations. There are crown of achievement baths. If you want to attract a romantic partner, there are baths for that as well. And so each bath, there's like an oil, there's different herbs, there's different amount of days you should do the baths. But I always tell people, so when you're removing something from your life, you wash down. But when you're trying to bring something to your life, you wash up.
And the thing is, you listen to this and you just say, this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense
Mm-hmm.
because it sounds balanced. To remove, to wash down, to
Yes.
attract, wash up, because I'm bringing it to me. I'm
Yes.
attracting it to me. And the use of different herbs and scents to attract that type of energy,
Yes.
it makes me feel as if it feels empowering, because you are creating an environment for change. You're
Right.
creating the environment. You're not just letting it happen by happenstance. You are creating an environment. And that's how I feel about your physical body. If I take care of this temple, I'm creating an environment for clear thinking because I'm
Yes.
eating well, for movement because I'm eating well,
Yes.
for just good spiritual awakening because I'm taking care of this temple. So I'm able
Right.
to focus and clear. So I'm creating this environment to change and to allow for my growth and my development. So I think that this is just a beautiful thing. And to add that in addition to what you're doing. So now all of these things come together to help you to find your purpose, because you're
Yes.
removing these blockages and
Right.
attracting these wonderful things. And I think it creates clarity.
Right, because for a lot of people, that's the first time they actually connect with their spirit. That's the first time that they can actually feel their spirit, and they I feel free. When they do an energy removal, they're like, okay, I feel free, like I can actually move now. And then so when you you can't put new stuff on top of old stuff. You got to get rid of the old stuff first. And so when all that is out the way, it's easier to attract because you're not being weighed down by old things that you haven't let go of yet. Because it's hard to manifest when you're stuck in the past.
Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
is. It is. It is very hard to manifest. It's very hard to move forward if you are stuck in your past. So you speak of attracting love and money, and how are those energies intertwined? The energy of love, you feel like that's so earthy, or I don't know if it's negative, but you're just like, you would never think of the energy of love and energy of money being similar. How are those two
They're
intertwined?
similar. They're very similar. They're similar because it all starts with your heart and your root. And so a lot of times we don't realize what we say and how we feel, they all kind of intertwine.
Mm.
So let's say if your money is low and you're walking around saying I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, well, you're telling the universe I'm broke, don't give me anything, right?
Yeah.
Same thing goes for love. If you're trying to attract love, but you're going around saying, "Oh, I hate my world, I hate my life," da da da. Well, I mean, you're gonna attract somebody that's in that same field as you.
True. True.
So, it's you can never manifest from depletion. Okay, so you can never manifest from loneliness. So a lot of times, if you're in a toxic situation, your money is more than likely going to match that toxic situation, because love and money are two things that we both want, and somehow as humans we kind of tie them together. You know, when we date someone, we're trying to find someone that has money as well, as far as somebody that we love, and you know, vice versa. So we always kind of tie them in together. So I always tell people, if you're manifesting, if you're trying to manifest love and money, you cannot do it from depletion. You can't do it from, like, you know, just saying, oh, you can't just go say, well, I'm broke, and now you want to manifest, you know, $10,000, because you told the universe that I don't really care about, I'm broke. The same thing for love. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to manifest someone that loves you. And so you have to learn how to manifest love through money from the fullness of your heart, from the fullness of that you deserve everything that you want, from the fullness of I already have it, it just hasn't come to me yet.
I think that's great. And I like what you said. You cannot manifest from depletion.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why the energies of love and money are intertwined, because they're all about abundance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you're like, you know, if you're living in the lack, if you're not living in the lack of, there's no manifesting. There's not even room to manifest, because you're already telling. A lot of people don't really understand that when you're speaking, words are affirmations. And even if you're just saying, I'm broke, you're telling the universe, I'm broke. If you're saying I hate it here, you're saying all this stuff, you're gonna wake up one morning and eventually you're gonna hate it here. You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, if you're saying I'm broke, when you do get money, your money's gonna leave already, because you're already telling your money what it's going to do. If you're saying, you know, I don't like myself for whatever reason, you're more than likely going to attract somebody into your life that's going to, you know, find the same reason and find that it's your insecurity and highlight that for you. So if you're saying, you know, I'm confident, I'm amazing, I'm beautiful, I'm abundant, you know, everything I spend comes back to me times 3. Those are energies, those are new energies you're putting in your life, and you're allowing your life to manifest from a full heart.
I love it. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I love what you're doing. And I just feel so like, whoa, like, man, I'm like, when I'm done with this interview, I'm just like, ooh, because you're just dropping some serious gems right now, like some serious pearls of just like, that makes sense. Oh my gosh. I never thought of it that way. And I'm just looking at it like, this is amazing. This is perfect. Amber, where can we find you? So if I mean, I know I'm gonna be I know we work together in terms of publicists, but I'm for like that spiritual work, because I feel like
Right.
it's all in one. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, don't think this is the last time you saw Amber Renee. I nicknamed her Miss Renee when she's on her serious, when I'm doing things when I'm doing too
Yes.
much. I'm like, Miss Renee. Mhm.
Amber's nice.
Amber
Renee
nice,
kind
and
of
Miss
like
Renee. Miss Renee has her glasses on the edge of her nose. Mhm.
that's definitely a thing.
Yeah, so I'm like, when Miss Renee comes out, that's when you be like, well, what had happened was I had this
Right.
idea, you know.
That's still a thing. But yes,
It's a good thing. It's a good balance.
yes, trying to find balance there. But
But I'm telling you guys, you're going to see more and more of Amber in terms of not only just the publicity, but really seeing her when we're doing our spiritual work together as a tribe. She's going to be one of our leaders in walking us through this. It's a journey, and it's not something that we can just say, okay, it's over. But she's definitely going to be one of our leaders and walking us through this journey of spirituality. So you'll definitely be seeing more of her. But if they need you right now, and I know there's somebody out there going, I need Amber right
yeah.
now, how can they find you?
Okay, so they can find me on Instagram, Living in Divine. If to schedule a consultation with me, they can go to picktime.com/living in divine. And also you can always email me at livingindivine@gmail.com.
Amber, I always like to ask my guests this question.
Yes.
If you could go back to the Amber Renee, I think Renee came out after, but you know, if you could go back to the Amber Renee that once was before she began walking in her divine self, what would you say to her?
You know how they say like the old people grab you and be like, yo, listen here, listen here.
Yeah.
I would grab her and I would tell her, you know, first, do not let people put their projections on you. You know, when you allow people to put their projections on you, their fears become your fears. Their doubts become your doubts. Their insecurities become your insecurities. I would tell her to learn the difference between being confident and being cocky. To know that confidence comes from the self, cockiness comes from the ego. The ego can always run. And I would tell her, most importantly, above all things, girl, love yourself. Like, love yourself. And then when you figure out, when you think you can't love yourself anymore, pull up something else to love yourself. But keep loving yourself and allow boundaries to come into your life. But just love yourself. Like, if she didn't get anything, I would tell her, make sure if you love yourself, everything else will work out for you.
I think that's beautiful. I love that. And you cannot emphasize that any more than, folks, you got to go out there and you got to love
You have
yourself.
to love yourself. Let's love
Amber,
yourself.
I really want to thank you for sharing such valuable information that I know we are all going to walk away with. And just, I know people are going to be contacting you and knocking down your door, because I think we all want to, not that I think, I know we all want to live in our divine purpose, because
Right.
that's when we really know who we are, and are fully in our, full power,
Yeah.
So I want to thank you again for sharing your knowledge and giving us your time, and I look forward to having you on again.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I truly enjoyed you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, fam, that was Miss Amber Renee of Living in Divine. I don't know about you, but this interview really touched my heart, and I came away with a few things. I took some notes. In order to live in your divine self, we must be intentional. We have to be intentional about wanting to live in our divine self and finding our purpose. Because what I'm reminded of, I don't know if you guys, I'm probably dating myself, but if you remember the cartoon He-Man and She-Ra, and they're like, I have the power, right? Because they were tapping into this energy, right? This energy that just came down through their swords and coursed through their body and changed them. Prince Adam became this like Hulk, and then Aurora became this warrior. This is what happens when we are intentional about tapping into our energy and knowing that we are more than body. We are more than our body and our minds. We are body, mind, and spirit. And when all three are in alignment, the energy that we can create is just limitless. But we have to understand first, we have to be intentional, because just like Amber said, we cannot manifest out of a depleted state. And so if we need to be re-energized, we need guidance, we need to look for that so that we can live in our fullest self, reaching our maximum potential, so that we leave this world completely just not, I don't want to be depleted, but just our energy, because remember, energy can neither be created nor destroyed, just transferred. So when we leave this earth, the energy that we manifested is still here and is able to affect and impact change on the legacy that we leave behind us. Legacy PR right there. There's our legacy. So, fam, be bigger, be fitter, be stronger. Do not be afraid to love yourself and to tap into your full potential, and to be like Prince Adam and Prince Aurora and just tap into your power and just say, I have the power. Fam, until next time, see you again.